can remember a time, and it was not that long ago actually, that we celebrated success in this country. I can remember a time when second place was not good enough. Second place was viewed as being the first loser. No one remembers second place. Have you guys ever seen the Netflix documentary on the 2008 Redeem Team? I know we've got tainted views of guys like LeBron James and Dwayne Wade right now, but back then, before LeBron embraced mythical racism and Dwayne Wade fell into the warm embrace of his life partner Gabe, they were both proud to represent our country. During this documentary, they talked about the disappointment of the 2004 Olympic team. They openly discussed how embarrassing it was to represent America in the Olympics and come home with the bronze medal instead of the gold medal. That's why the 2008 team was called the Redeem Team. They had to bring in Kobe Bryant to show these guys what a real competitor looks like. When Tom Brady makes it out of the first round of the playoffs, do you see him celebrating on the field? Do you see him banging the bongo, partying like he just won the Super Bowl? No. When the Lakers or the Warriors advance to the Western Conference Finals, do you see confetti falling from the roof of the arena? No. Why? Because they know they haven't won anything yet. The job is not complete. There's no reason for them to be celebrating. America has always been known for having this mentality of win at all cost. You celebrate victory like you've been there before. When you fall short, you congratulate your opponent, you correct your mistakes, and you try again. Although I believe this mentality is still prevalent with normal people, it is not the mentality preached at Woke United Methodist. Last night, we witnessed a group of parishioners celebrating failure. I told you guys last week, 2023 has been the year of the huge embarrassing failure. I guess the activists on the U.S. women's soccer team, along with their fearless leader, Megan Rapinoe, I guess they wanted to guarantee their position at the upcoming HEF Awards. Last night, the activists, they managed to advance to the next round of the World Cup. Woohoo! Our political campaign has been extended. We have a few more days to preach the good word to our woke brothers and sisters in New Zealand and Australia. I will admit, I am a complete novice when it comes to soccer. I've got a small understanding of the game on the field, but I've got zero knowledge as to how the World Cup works. I am incredibly confused, though, as to how these activists representing our country managed to advance in the World Cup. They didn't advance by, winning the game. They were allowed to advance because they tied. Okay, I guess that's good, right? I mean, me personally, I would not be happy with a tie. I wouldn't be celebrating like I just accomplished greatness. But the women representing America on a global stage, they celebrated their failure last night like they had just won the Super Bowl. The scene looked like a Jackie Mahomes show at the Shaggin' Dragon. You guys know how the dancing queen dances. Ooh, dancing queen. Our wonderful American women, they were doing their best impersonation last night of Jackie Mahomes, dancing all over the field. Megan Rapinoe, she was doing the dance preferred by dudes like me in the mid-2000s. Megster was on the field doing the shoulder lean. There were plenty of smiles, loads of complimentary cucumbers. They were even utilizing the climate-friendly grill provided by our amazing leader, John Biden, and perfectly roasting the grilled woke wiener. My inside sources tell me Bomani Jones, he was the organizer of this celebration of huge embarrassing failure. It was all rainbows and cucumbers on the field last night, but there was one former player who had a real problem with this. There was one former player who didn't recognize the representation of America that she was seeing on the field. Like the rest of us, Carli Lloyd, she is not accustomed to seeing Americans celebrating failure. After the game last night, Carli Lloyd absolutely unloaded on Megan Rapinoe and the beauties on the U.S. women's soccer team. Hopefully this clip will be allowed to go through. I've had a lot of problems with Fox lately, but just in case it doesn't, I'll summarize it for you afterwards. But watch for yourself.
Throwing things.
I have never witnessed, and just seeing these images for the first time right now on the desk, I have never witnessed something like that. There's a difference between being respectful of the fans and saying hello to your family, but to be dancing, to be smiling. I mean, the player of the match was that post. You're lucky to not be going home right now.
Basically, Carli Lloyd tore into these women just like I just did for celebrating failure. She called them lucky to not be going home right now, which I happen to slightly disagree here with Carli Lloyd. I think the rest of us here in America are lucky that they're not coming home. I will gladly take back the women who are proudly representing the country, but Megan Rapinoe and the others who refuse to sing the national anthem, they are more than welcome to just stay over there. Matter of fact, I'll gladly pay the cancellation fees for Meg's return flight home. I highly doubt the Sue Bird has enough gas in those wings to fly over there and pick her up. This celebration was absolutely embarrassing. Since when do we celebrate failure? Since when do we celebrate just managing to get by? This would be like the men's Olympic team celebrating making it to the quarterfinals. Woohoo! We just beat Ethiopia by 1 point. Yeah. Who fucking cares? Here in America, we don't celebrate until the job is done. Over the past couple of weeks, there's been a lot of talk. There's been a lot of media coverage surrounding the fact that a lot of Americans are having a difficult time supporting this particular team. Many people were upset with their absolute refusal to sing the national anthem. Now, to be fair, there are three, maybe four players who are singing the national anthem before the games, but the rest of this roster, they just stand there with a scowl on their face. Earlier this morning, I did a little bit of research. Since I'm not too familiar with the World Cup, I wasn't sure of the traditions. Apparently, it is tradition at the World Cup for the players representing their country to sing their respective national anthems. Last night, the beautiful women from Portugal were filmed singing their national anthem. A couple of weeks ago, I showed you guys the lovely ladies from Vietnam proudly singing their national anthem. Every other country, to my knowledge, seems to honor this tradition except the women from America. I wonder why. Let's pretend for 1 second that we're one of the women on this team representing America. Pretending shouldn't be a problem for the women in my audience, obviously, but honestly, shouldn't be a problem for the men either, since Megan Rapinoe has openly admitted that she wants to see men on the U.S. women's soccer team. So let's all pretend for 1 second that we're on this roster. After the first game, our patriotism is being questioned because we didn't sing the national anthem. How are you going to respond? What would you do? I think most of us would be sure to sing the national anthem at the next game, right? That's not exactly how this particular group chose to respond. They responded instead with defiance. One unknown player was quoted as saying, and this is far from being verbatim, but the national anthem is not our focus. When we are standing there listening to that painful, painful song rooted in mythical racism, we are actually preparing for the game. We have every right not to sing that dangerous rhetoric. Preparing for the game? You're preparing for the game while you're standing there fantasizing about locker room woke hugs? I thought game prep happened during practice. I thought game prep happened during film sessions. I know I have never been a professional activist, but I didn't realize game preparation took place during the playing of the national anthem. Last night, for the third game in a row, the vast majority of the activists on the U.S. women's soccer team, they refused again to sing the national anthem. And once again, they were called out by normal people on social media. After the game last night, and after witnessing their immaculate celebration of failure, Carli Lloyd questioned the commitment of this team. She said they didn't look fit, which I took to mean they're out of shape. She claimed they were playing as individuals instead of playing as a team. Now, when I hear something like that from a former player, someone who used to share a locker room with these women, I think what Carli Lloyd was trying to say here is that these women are playing for individual fame and fortune. They are playing for individual recognition. They're playing for endorsement deals. They're playing for social media followers. Perhaps they aspire to be like Megan Rapinoe and become an influencer once their soccer career is over. Back in the mid-90s, Michael Jordan was interviewed by Sports Illustrated, before it was known as Woke Illustrated. He was asked about the 2 or 3 championships he had won at the NBA at that point of his career. He was also asked about the Olympics, the '92 Dream Team, and which accomplishment meant more to him. Michael Jordan said something to the effect of, the NBA championships are cool, but that's for the city of Chicago. That's for fans of the NBA. To me, winning the gold medal at the Olympics is far more important to my legacy because I was able to win something for my entire country. The point is, we used to have athletes that were proud to represent America. They took it seriously. Today, we've got athletes that are ashamed to be from America. Perhaps Carli Lloyd is right. Maybe these women are not committed to this team, but maybe the individual fame and fortune, the individual recognition, maybe that's not the only factor at play here. Could the problem with this roster be that the majority of these women are ashamed to represent America? Oftentimes, teams will take on the personality of their leader. Pittsburgh Steelers in the 1970s, they were viewed as a tough blue-collar team. Same as Terry Bradshaw. San Antonio Spurs in the mid-2000s, they were viewed as boring, painful, tough to watch. Same as Tim Duncan, Greg Popovich. My Saints, they were viewed as the underdogs, the story of redemption, an organization with class, a team that was resilient, wasn't afraid of adversity. Same as Drew Brees. How is this current group representing America viewed? What is their reputation? Unpatriotic, entitled, celebrating failure, uncommitted, selfish, all about themselves instead of the team. Same as Megan Rapinoe. We all know Megan Rapinoe is not proud to represent America, and that mentality seems to have spilled over into the locker room, and it is being displayed to the world on camera. No matter what happens at this World Cup, the end result is going to be the same. These women could win the gold medal. No one is going to remember. What's going to be remembered is the lack of patriotism on display. What's going to be remembered is the celebration of failure. I told you guys from the very beginning, it was a mistake to invite Megan Rapinoe to the World Cup. She's not even playing. In terms of contributions on the field, she is completely useless. But in the locker room, she's a cancer. And if people continue watching in record numbers, that cancer is going to spread because they are looking at these ratings as a sign of support. Give me your thoughts. Carli Lloyd destroys Megan Rapinoe and the U.S. women's team for celebrating failure. She also questioned their commitment. Do you agree with Carli Lloyd? Could we see ratings begin to fall as the World Cup moves on? You let me know. Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys later.